Hi, Captains. Zach Catreff here, founder and CEO of Anchor Yacht Rentals and Anchor Yacht Delivery. Pretty exciting announcement today, and we're going to jump right into this screen share, but we have our Anchor Captain app now launching, available on all iOS stores as well as Android. It's a free download, and most of you who are receiving this initial message should already have your Captain profile built. So we're going to go in and I'm going to do a couple of screen shares on how to use the app, how to check into a few charters, and how to create your profile, of course. So starting here, we're going to go ahead and jump into a screen share. Go ahead and unlock the phone, and we'll see the Anchor Captain app pop up. Now, for most of you who already have profiles, the email that you gave us is your username or email, and I would type it there, and your password that you all shared with us. And then you could just tap login. But for new users, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to hit sign up. Once we've signed up, I'm going to go ahead and put in a profile that is a test account. I'm going to put my last name. A real phone number, my date of birth, I go ahead and tap that top right and I can type it in. New accounts only. And I click the next button. That's my cell phone number. It just carried over. And I'm going to do a text message verification right now. It's come into my phone, as you see at the top. We'll go ahead and pop it here. iOS is nice enough to give us the code right there, and I can confirm the code. If I've made an error and I put in my cell phone number incorrectly, or maybe I didn't put a cell phone number at all, I just put a home phone number or an office phone number, you can go ahead and hit that button down here, change number. But I got my cell phone in here correctly, so I don't need to hit change number or send again, but I'll confirm the code. The last step of the process is to simply agree to the terms of service. You cannot use the app unless you agree to the terms of service, but basically we're telling you here a little bit about how our company operates, as well as the fact that we don't share your private information with anybody, and that's really important. You're an independent contractor, a freelancer for us, not an employee, and that's all right here in the terms of service. So I accept and agree. Are you a licensed captain? Yes or no? I'm not personally, for liability reasons. However, I'm going to pretend today in this fake account that I am. So I tap the yes button, and then it gives me a reference number. Now, reference number is not your USA code, but it's more of a 7 to 8 digit code, which I'm going to put as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That can be found on your Merchant Mariner credential. I put in my expiration date of the license, and for just the purposes of today, I'm going to go ahead and put in 11/10, which is the date, but I'm going to put it for 2025. And the type of license that I have. Anybody who has over a 200-ton license can just use the bottom category of over 200 tons. And I click next. The last part is where I'm going to select the bodies of water where I'm available. And I tap the select bodies of water. And what I can do is I can start off by doing Florida. So I pick Florida since I'm located in Florida. If not, you pick the states you're available. And then you can pre-select some of the locations that we have available here. So let's say where I'm located here at our headquarters, I'm available in St. Pete, Tampa. I also want to service Sarasota, Clearwater, Anna Maria Island, and Siesta Key. That's a pretty good range. So then I've added those. I can scroll back up to the top. I'm all the way at the bottom. I can scroll back up to the top and click in the top right-hand corner, save. And now I can hit complete. You can also skip some of these steps. So now I'm brought to the home screen. So what I have to do now is build out the rest of my profile. So I have the home screen here. And if I had charters assigned to me, which a new signup would not, because they haven't been through orientations or trainings or any of that, the profile still has to be verified. So if I'm a new user and I'm signing up for the first time, I can go ahead and into these next steps. Or if I'm an existing captain and maybe my captain profile needs a little bit of love, I can go ahead and hit these next steps as well. So the first step of what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my settings in the bottom right-hand corner. And I have my test account up here, and that should have my first name and last name, but I have the Z and I have no picture uploaded, no profile picture. So I go ahead and hit personal account. And that's where I can change my profile photo. And we'll just use this generic picture for now. I could change my name here. I could change my phone number. That's about all I can change right now. And that's where I want to keep it. So I hit save. And you can see my profile picture has now been updated at the top left-hand corner. The last part that I could edit is my captain credentials. You'll see the reference number, expiration date, and license type all in the top already preloaded. But the last thing I want to do is take a picture of my Merchant Mariner credential. And how I would do that is simply by grabbing a piece of information. I'm going to grab my business card here and I hit this plus button in the middle of the screen. And it's going to access my camera. And you can see us recording there. Here we are. And I'm going to go ahead and just take a picture of Anchor Yacht Rentals. Okay, I'll use that photo. And that photo will be uploaded automatically into the system. We use this when we're dealing with insurance companies, owners insurance companies, et cetera, et cetera. We also use this to validate that you actually really do have your Merchant Mariner credential, and we'll take that reference number and go do a home port search to verify that it's active and live. So now I can scroll down to the bottom here, and I need to let the customer know a little bit about me. Now, this is a client-facing description. What that means is charterers can see this, boat owners can see this, other mariners can see this, but for the most part, we need to tailor these to be friendly, simple, and fun. They don't need to be full of descriptive words and glossary terms that no one's going to understand. So really quickly, I'm going to put this description really fast and you guys can build this out, but I'll give you a good example. This is my test account. I love being on the water and helping guests have a great time. I hold a 100-ton master's license and have driven boats privately and for charter up to 70 foot, something like that. What you can put in here is just as important as what you cannot put in here. It's extremely important that we discuss what you cannot put in here. You cannot put a phone number. You cannot put an email. You cannot put a way to contact you outside the application. Anchor software will give the client your information when you're selected for a gig automatically, only when they've booked. This is for your security and for our security. So please don't violate the terms of service. We consider it back solicitation by putting your name, phone number, company name, anything that could lead the client back to you directly outside of the app is strictly forbidden. We will give one warning and sometimes zero warning, zero tolerance, if somebody is blatantly saying to contact them outside of the application. Any back solicitation within our program is termed, we'll call it dismissal, but really it's deactivation. So all we have to do is click a button, you're deactivated, you can never work at Anchor again. So please don't back solicit. We're going out and getting the business. We're paying a lot of money to find these leads for you and book these charters. And for a captain to come in and be counterproductive and try to back solicit is just not acceptable. So after I've done this and I haven't back solicited or done anything I can't do, I go ahead and hit save and I'm done. Okay. I'm pretty much done at this point. I don't have anything else to do in this account because if I go back to my home, I don't have any charters booked yet. But when I do have charters assigned to me and charters select me as the captain, where they book my boat and I'm using this as an owner operator, we can do both. They'll populate right here in the screen where you see no charters today. Okay, now that we've shown you how to create a new account and build out your captain profile, I'm going to go ahead and log into my real account, my real captain. And I say real with air quotes because I'm not actually a captain. Again, this is an account that's preloaded with fake charters for this example only. However, I would simply download the app. All you do is go to your app store and type in Anchor Captain, and it should be this logo that you see here. It's the Captain app, not the passenger app. So go ahead and enter in your email and password that you gave us to create the account and log in. Once you're logged in, there's no need to ever log out of this. And as you can see, I have several charters that are assigned to me, one for today. So we're going to go ahead and look at this, and I can go view all of these others. I can tap on them and view. I can, again, still edit my profile from here and make changes. But for the most part, once you have a good profile picture, once you have a good description, and the only thing you might want to change around a little bit is your area of service. So you can type in different areas. Let's say you migrate north during the summer to DC, New York, those areas, and then come back down to Florida. You may want to edit that right here in the system, but it has little to no impact over how we do business today, but it will have much more impact in the future. So I'm going to go ahead and do my test boat here. It's called Sigla Test Boat, but the name of the boat would be there. This is a full day charter, 8 hours from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. Let's go in and check this out. All right, so the app already pulls in specific information, a charter ID, very important to know. The day of the week, it's on a Wednesday today, November 10th, starts at 3 o'clock p.m. and goes till 11 p.m. So as I go through, the name of the boat is Sigla Test Boat. It's a 36-foot Sea Ray Sundancer 350. I have some checklists here. We're going to get into those later. Those pre-charter checklists are super important. Boarding procedures, super important. There's a boat location map. This one we just put at the Lake of the Ozarks. So I have a location of the boat where I, the captain, show up. And then I also I can get directions right within the app. So if I get directions, it's going to pull me into my Apple Maps. I can go back. I can copy the address and put it into any map I choose. And then I have my demo customer here is my first name of my customer. So it would have the customer's name and phone number. I can call the customer right from my phone. It's going to pull up that, and I would hit that to call. And I would also be able to message that customer. So I can now talk and text right from within the app. And you should always call your customers 24 hours in advance. I can also take a look at the pickup location. Is it different? And in this case, it is my pickup location different than my boat location? So I may have a pickup for the customer. So I could highlight this down here, copy it, and put it into my Navionics. I could put it into my Garmin. I could put it into any device I choose. But for all intents and purposes of this demo, we don't need to do that. We also add some captain notes in here. You're probably familiar with our itinerary email that's now contained within the app. So let's say I've already been selected for this charter. It's today, and I've arrived at the boat. Upon arrival, there's a couple of things we do as captains. We're not going to go into the standard operating procedures of a captain, just the app today. But the first couple things I need to do is undress the boat, but I need to start my pre-charter checklist. And I always start that as soon as I get to the boat, because it's the condition the boat was in when you arrived, not the condition you put the boat in after you prepped it. So I can tap one of two buttons. I can either tap the circle here where it says pre-charter, or I can tap the green pre-charter checklist button at the bottom. Either will take me to the same thing. In fact, it's better to get used to doing the green button that's overlapping the map there, but it stays on the screen. You see pre-charter checklist doesn't move because that's the next step. So I'm going to go ahead and start my pre-charter checklist. Now, the first thing I need to do is take pictures of the exterior of the boat. Well, boats really have 4 major sides to them. I would say aft, port, starboard, and bow. So I may take 3 to 4 pictures of the exterior and get as much of the boat. And you can do up to 5, 7, 10 pictures if you want. I'm gonna take one just here at the computer. There's the left side, we'll say the porch side of my laptop, and I'll use that photo. You'll notice it uploads automatically. I can also upload a second photo, starboard side of my laptop, which is my vessel today. And it's loading right now. Okay, so the images will load in. You can keep going and you can go ahead and hit next. We've made this to where you don't need any Wi-Fi or cell phone connection. It will push it to our system after you regain connection. So you can do this in the middle of the ocean if you wanted to, and it should be fine. So now I've taken a couple exterior photos and I hit next. Interior of the boat. This is really important. We are checking for damage before we arrive, and we're documenting damage. We call this covering our ass, or CYA, cover your ass, right? And so we want to make sure that we're not going to get blamed for any damage, or we're not blaming a client for damage. Also, if there is damage on our charters, we have to have the condition of the boat before and the condition of the boat after they left it. We can't just have after pictures and say they caused this damage. It's not going to work. We'll lose the claim every time. You'll be removed as the captain from being able to be on that boat because the owner's going to be upset. You didn't document things properly. They'll remove you from the roster. No more work on that boat. So always take pictures of the exterior and interior. If you notice something, take a picture of something. Okay, so let's say I see a little scratch here on my A key. I'm gonna take a picture of it, but I'm also gonna document the full thing. So I'm going ahead and taking a picture. I'm gonna add another photo. And this side of my interior of my laptop is fine, but I took a picture anyway, because I just wanna show that I'm documenting and I used the photo. Now you'll notice, captains, when I hit that plus button, it doesn't allow me to use my photo library. Very important. Not allowed to use my photo library. We did this for security purposes. Only live pictures will be accepted. You can't do this after the charter anymore. You must do this upon arrival. So anyway, I've got my interior photos. I go next. Fuel levels. Just to document fuel, I take a picture of my fuel gauge. Let's say my escape key is my fuel gauge. I'll take a picture of that. But I would take a picture of both fuel gauges if there are two, one fuel gauge if there is only one. If it's not operational, take a photo of it anyway. And then I guesstimate a starting fuel level, entering the number of gallons in the vessel. So I'm going to put 1,000 gallons are in the vessel. Now, is there any noticeable damage to the vessel? I can put yes, and I say the A key, because that was my example here, is scratched. And the toilet did not flush properly. Again, CYA, covering our butts. And I'm gonna once again, if I have to, and I didn't take photos of it before, take a picture of that A key and document it, use photo. Now that I've documented my damage, it's gonna upload and I can complete. And I get a cool message saying I've completed. So there, I'm done, back to charter details. Now, I've completed the pre-charter checklist and a check mark goes there. It is complete. The next thing to happen, now I'm going to continue on with my day as the captain. The captain and crew are going to prep the boat, provisions may arrive. And then when I get a call from that client or a text and they're about to arrive and they arrived on time, the next step, as you see, is the boarding procedure, or what we call the check-in process, right? So you have boarding procedure, check-in process, same thing. So I can either click in the middle here, or I can click the green button, boarding checklist, which is what I'm going to do. And I want to take a picture of who they are. Please confirm if the ID matches. Okay. So I can confirm identity. And I've taken a picture of that. Okay. Now that I've checked in the client, I'm going to conduct the charter. So I've checked them in. The important part about the ID, let's go back to check in a little bit. I've looked at their ID. I've matched the ID to the person's face. and I know that that's them. The name also matches on the charter agreement. You can see the client's name here, and you can also see your charter agreement here. And so I have a charter agreement signed. And I see here as I zoom in, demo customer lane, signature, demo customer lane. You'll notice all of this is signed automatically, including the breakdown of the invoice. Don't forget the invoice is what we billed the customer, not what you're paid. So don't think these are pay rates, and these are just examples anyway, but you can see a full breakdown. If the Coast Guard does pull you over, you have a line item to receipt that a bareboat charter was facilitated properly financially. So you can pull this out, say, hey, here's where they paid for the boat. Here's where they paid for the fuel. Here's where they paid for me, the captain. And it's line item by line item by line item. You show this to and that the client agreed. So the clients agreed that they had a selection of captain. They have agreed that they've hired you through the captain services agreement, and they've leased the vessel properly. Okay, so we're all good. I go ahead and in top left, I hit done. I've matched the customer name to the ID that I've checked in. And I've checked in the boarding process. Good to go. Thank you. Now, customers on board, customers checked in. We're getting off the dock and we're going on our charter and we're having a good time. Okay, well, we bring them back to the dock. It's 11 o'clock p.m. It's dark outside, obviously at 11. We let the customers off. At that moment, before we start removing trash, before we assess damage, all of that, before we clean up the boat, because we're usually rinsing these boats, freshwater spray down, trash is off, surface is wiped down, boat looks good, tied up nice and neat, bundled, buttoned back up with sunshades and isinglass is all back up. Then I'm before I'm doing all of that, I'm doing my post-charter checklist, and I'll show you why we do it first and not last. So first things first, boat's back at the dock. I take a picture of the in fuel gauges again. Remember, my escape key was my fuel gauge. So I'm taking a picture of the end fuel and I'm clicking use photo. If it's blurry, I can retake it. And then I put the ending fuel levels. So remember, I started off with 1,000. Now I have 800 gallons worth of fuel reading. And it says you burned 200 gallons of fuel. And I hit the next step. Additional or lost hours. So did I add any time? Did I lose any time? Let's say at 8 o'clock, it started to rain or it got really cold or something. Started to rain. Really bad thunderstorms, had to bring the boat back. So I could say I lost hours. If the customer decided to add an hour, I can add hours. Or if I can say, hey, so I'll show you what it looks like when I add an hour. It just asks you how many hours did you add? I added 1 hour. That's all you would do. If I lost hours, I would say that I lost 1 hour. I would delete that 0, say I lost an hour. Okay. And if I do lose an hour, I lost an hour, I would say why. Weather behavior, mechanical failure, charterer behavior, they got too drunk, or other. So let's say just weather caused us to lose an hour. Okay. Now I scroll down and I hit next. Boat damage. Was there any boat damage? In this scenario, we're going to pretend like there was. Most of the time there is not, but let's say I noticed that the customer spilled a red drink on the carpet. Okay, did the customer damage the boat in any way? Yes. Red drink spilled on, let's call it salon carpet. Now, I don't want to clean this up first, right? You are allowed to clean that up, and yes, we will give you the cleaning fee. If you have a carpet cleaner, you want to go get it, and you want to provide those services, great. We can bill them, and we'll pay you for that service. But we want to document it first, okay? So you don't take picture after it's cleaned up, you take picture while it's messy. Now, some of these photos can get gross, right? Think of all the things that happen in restrooms. Think of people getting seasick. We want the gross pictures. We don't want nudity. We don't want pornography. We want gross pictures of, yes, if there is soil or feminine products in the toilet clogging it up, it is okay to send that to us. You're not going to gross us out. We're pretty used to it. There's a stain on the carpet. I don't clean it up and then take a picture of it back to normal because then I can't charge the client for it. I take a picture of the damage. So this napkin I have next to me is going to be my damage. And I take it and I photograph the damage. Snap. Use photo. It's clear. I've taken a picture of it. Hopefully I have a picture of it before when it was clean. Now I have a picture of it when it's stained. It loads and I go on to my next step. Now, please add any additional notes about the charter or the vessel that you would like. This is anything you want. The group was great. The boat was a mess when I showed up and the generator failed twice, something like that. Just notes, okay? Then I'm ready to hit next. So the notes about the charterer, how were they? Guess were great. Not happy about the generator failing. Spilled red drink on floor, damage documented. Next. How was the condition of the boat? Well, remember in my previous example, I said, how was it? Was the boat ready when you arrived? No, ew, it was gross. Boat was trashed. Owner must have partied the night before. Something like that. And yes, this happens. Next. Did I refuel the boat afterwards? Yes or no? Now you want to document if you refueled the boat because there may be a refueling fee paid to you, the captain. If you don't document it, no fee is going to be paid. And if you say, yes, I refueled it, but you only put like 10 gallons in, there's no reimbursement or time or anything for a refueling fee. You can't just go put a little bit of gas in the boat and make 55 extra bucks or something like that. But you do get paid an extra hour for your time if you refuel the boat to a certain standard. So go ahead here and we could put, yes, I refueled the boat. And then the next thing is I want to put in the receipt. So I'm going to take a picture of my receipt. And in this example, my phone charger is going to be my receipt. So I take a very clear picture of that receipt. I use that photo. It's going to load and I enter the total gallons pumped. I pumped 100 gallons into the boat, or I just topped it off 200 because that's the fuel I used. How much money did that cost? Well, I'm just going to guesstimate, fuel is probably over $4 on the water right now. So I'm just going to do 200 times 4. It was 800 bucks. And then who pumped the fuel? Either the boat owner, the captain, or other. I'm the captain, so I pumped it, and I'm going to enter that as my deal here. Okay. So when your keyboard gets stuck like that, by the way, I just had my keyboard stuck and it covered up the next button. You can just tap anywhere on the screen and it'll go away. And hit next. Yeah, they pumped out waste while I was there. That was the last screen. Pumped out waste, yes or no? Done. Okay, cool. Congrats. Home, I'm done. So now I've completed my charter. It's still here, but it's completed. Okay. So that if I go back into it and it loads all of my data, you can see this is done. All 3 checks. I'm good, but I'm storing that info because I want to be able to see this for later. You'll be able to go back into these later and see your notes, change your notes, all that stuff. Now, let's say I want to make changes. Oh, so I can't edit the boarding check-in because I've already completed it. So I can't go back in after completing and submitting, but during the process, I could go backwards, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and scroll to the top. There's an X at the top here. I X that out. And now I'm ready to just see what I got coming up. So I've got something on November 17th and on Friday. So I've got upcoming charters here that I can see. And yes, you can go into these. Now be careful. When you go in, you can see where you're going. Where am I picking up at? Who's my customer? I want to call them. View my charter agreement, view my notes, my pickup location, and I can really plan out my day better when I get these in advance. Right? So nice part about having these itineraries is you get them really fast and they just auto-populate into your app. So don't start the pre-charter checklist before the day of. Yes, you could do that, right? I could do it, but I don't want to do it. So I'm going to go back. If I accidentally do it, it's fine. I go back. I don't finish it. That's all good. So hit X. We're done. Again, it's going to show when my payout is processed, it'll say my total earned up here in the top right-hand corner where total earned is. And we're just going to keep a count on how many charters you've booked. And then we're going to actually get more history, more payout information, more to these apps. This is baseline what we've created. And it's really helpful. The whole point was to get you all something to stop doing that end of charter form all at once, pain in the butt, forever to load. This was much faster, easy to use. Again, if you need to change your information here, you can. If you need to go to your captain credentials or change your location, you can. So that is all. That pretty much turns it off. Some of you may prefer dark mode. Helps the eyes sometimes when you're out there during the day. So dark mode can be helpful. Okay, so dark mode, light mode, doesn't do anything other than change the look. Profile settings, personal information, I can change my profile picture. So just some quick review of what we said earlier. That's it. Save, done, end of tutorial. Really hope you enjoy.